What's up guys? Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, if you've been around, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about all of the books that I have read so far in the month of January and the books I'm currently reading because there have been some really good ones. You guys know that feeling where everything that you're reading or like you read back-to-back books that are just everything that you wanted in the book, like that 5-star feeling that just persists over several books. Not that all of these books were 5 stars, but they all gave me like such good feelings. It's such a cloud nine feeling to ride out, and I'm just so happy. So let's talk about what I've read so far. My first book this month was My Darlings by Marie Still. In this book, we follow the main character, Eloise, who is a perfectly well put together stay-at-home mom. She's like president of the PTA at school. She has an extremely beautiful and well manicured home. And she's just like well known in the community, but also on the down low, she is a serial killer. This book was just so much fun. It had that like sinister perspective that you get when you're reading about a crazy character like her, but it kept me entertained the entire time. I loved the perspective of this book, how it gave like an insight into her mind, but also into like all of the people that are around her and that she deals with in her day-to-day life. I just highly recommend this one. It was really good. Then I read Take It Back by Kia Abdullah, and this book was wild. It was very powerful. Kia Abdullah is just an amazing author. She has a lot of diversity in her books as well, which I really love, but she does like the courtroom thriller really, really well. So this one follows a Muslim woman who's a former lawyer, but has since changed career paths and is now a therapist for grape victims. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that word on here. Anyway, so Zara is a grape counselor, and she has a young girl named Jody come in to see her one day and proceeds to tell her that she was recently graped by 4 young boys from her school at a party. Now it turns out that these 4 boys are also Muslim, and they are members of this community where their parents are very successful and they're just very well known. And so Zara, as a former lawyer, she tells Jody that, you know, she needs to press charges. She needs to take this to court. She needs to hold them accountable. And so Zara is kind of involved in the whole process as they go to court. And this is just a incredibly wild battle of race and victims, and the community gets involved. And there's just a lot of craziness involved with the case. The publicity is huge. She absolutely delivered on this book. This was an amazing story, and my jaw was on the floor multiple times. Another book that I have read so far this month is The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong, and unfortunately this one did fall flat for me. It was very cozy, cozy fantasy about a young woman who is a traveling fortune teller, and on her travels she kind of like crosses paths with other people along the way, and they become a group together as they travel, trying to find the daughter of one of the men who has been missing for a really long time. And she tells fortunes to people. She can see little bits and pieces of people's futures. And that's kind of the summary of this one. But like I said, it fell a little bit flat. I found it a little bit more on the boring side. I wanted it to pick up its pace a little bit more. However, if you are looking for something that's just cozy and has like the found family trope, this one is still a good read. It was just something that, 1, I wasn't expecting, and 2, I wasn't wanting. So wrong place, wrong time maybe. I also read Lightlark. Finally, I've been wanting to read this book for so long. It's a very well-loved fantasy series, and this one was really good. However, I feel like the mark was a little bit missed and an opportunity was lost that this book wasn't written in first-person point of view. The third-person aspect of this gave me like a sense of detachment from the character, and when it comes to a fantasy book, like I want to be right there in the mix with the main character, especially a main character like Isla, because I loved her, but I wanted more of a connection with her and like the journey that she was on. I'm not going to try to explain what this one is about because that's really difficult for me, and I feel like most people already know this one. But right now I feel like I'm not really dying to rush into the second book, although I still do want to read it, but I wanted to love this one just a little bit more. And then the final book that I have read so far in the month of January is The Business Trip. This one is by Jessie Garcia, and this one I don't think is released yet, although maybe by the time I post this video it might be. You guys, this was so freaking good. This was probably the most unpredictable book I have ever read. Like, I was trying to figure out what is actually going on here, and I just could not. So you follow two separate women. These women live in the same city, but they don't know each other. One, her name is Jasmine, and she is currently about to pack her bag in the middle of the night and board a plane to flee from an abusive relationship that she's trapped in. The second woman, her name is Stephanie, and she is a divorced, now single businesswoman. She works for a news programming station, and she is packing up her bags, getting ready to go to a work conference out of state. Both of these women end up on the same flight, and then both of these women end up going missing. So you kind of follow the point of views, or like the perspectives, I should say, of people who are in each of their lives that they left behind back home. And it's their perspectives of what is really going on. Like, where did these girls go? What happened? They're communicating back and forth, but something just doesn't seem right. And the way this story was laid out in, like, I think it's part 1, part 2, part 3, was so perfectly well done. It just brought so much good suspense into the story. And I could, like I said, I just could not guess what was really going on in this book. And the plot twist really got me. There were a few different plot twists that I just really enjoyed the entire book. And I definitely recommend this one, especially if you love psychological thrillers. So those are the books that I have read so far this month. Each one of them have brought me something so good, and just like that I love reading feeling. And I have the books that I am currently reading that are bringing me the same freaking feeling. It makes me so happy. The first one is All the Missing Pieces by Catherine Cowles. You guys, this is my very first Catherine Cowles book, and I am so happy that it's really like resonating with me, because I have wanted to read one of her books for so long, and I was hesitant because I thought if I don't like them, or if I don't like a book from her, I think I'll be really disappointed, and I'm just so happy. So this book, it's so freaking good. It's following the story of Ridley, and Ridley, back in the day, she had a twin sister who had gone missing, and years later, they still never found her. But since then, Ridley has become a podcaster, and she travels to these different towns where cold cases have happened. She does her research and she puts together these episodes and tries her best to bring these cold cases to light and to help uncover some new leads, and occasionally she'll solve a case and sometimes she doesn't, but she's able to bring closure to the families, and it's just so good, right? So we're following Ridley as she goes to a new small town called Shady Cove, and she is jumping on a new case that she's feeling really hopeful about, but she does not get a warm welcome to the town at all. The victim's older brother is actually the sheriff of the town. He is extremely grumpy. The second he gets wind of what she's there for, he is not having it, and that's like the gist of the story, right? But this book has all the vibes that I love. It's funny, it's suspenseful, it has that small town feel, so it's cozy. The tension is so high. It has really great banter. It has the characters with their soft spots, like each one of the characters has depth, and it's mysterious. Like, it's all the things I want in a book, and I am really just loving this. I'm about halfway through this one, and it's like the book that I am excited to pick up at night when my kids are in bed, and I know that I can just get lost in this book. It is such a good feeling. I don't want it to end, but I can't wait to find out what happens in the end. Does that even make sense? Love, love, love that book. The next one I have is on my Kindle, and this book is called, let's see if I can get the cover for you guys, Never Bargain with the Boss by Lauren Landish, and I am loving this one as well. So this is a romance book. It has a lot of spice. I'll just clear that up in case you're someone who's not into spice, but this book is actually part of a series, although each one is a standalone. But this one, it happens to be number 5. It's the first one I'm personally reading from this author, and I have no holdups with not having read the other books. It doesn't apply. This is a single dad nanny trope romance, which I love to read these kinds. And I don't read a ton of romance, but this is definitely one of the ones I'm mostly a sucker for. But basically you have the grumpy, really rich single dad. He has a teenage daughter who's quite the handful. They go through nannies like crazy because nobody can really like keep up with the demands that he has and the handful that the daughter is. But then Riley comes along, and she has been a nanny for a really long time. She's confident, she is spontaneous, she's headstrong. She has a lot of past baggage and trauma of her own, but she is just so, what's the word I want to use for her? She is just, like I said, confident, and she's assertive in the sweetest way. Like, she is just so genuine and quirky, and we freaking love Riley, okay? I absolutely love her. And she comes into their lives, and now the dad is just questioning everything. I think I'm about 60% of the way through this one, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's a joy to pick up this book. The third one I'm reading right now, I'm reading this one on audiobook, and this is called Hurricane Summer by Asha Bromfield. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This is the story of two sisters who live in Canada, but their heritage is from Jamaica. Their dad is from Jamaica, but their dad only comes to Canada to visit every so often, but lives his life in Jamaica just because like that's his homeland and he's so passionate about that. So he's been very like far removed from his daughters' lives, and the daughters, you can tell that they've kind of been craving his love and affection throughout the years. And so they're finally going to spend the summer with him in Jamaica, and they get on a plane and they go there. They're way out of their element, and that's pretty much all I have from the story so far. But it is very well written. It is very cultural, which I love in a book. I love exploring new cultures, especially through audiobook. When the audiobook narrator has like the genuine accent and just puts passion into the characters, I love that, and this book has that. And so I'm really curious to see where this one goes. I'm just pretty much still in the beginning. I'm not quite halfway through yet, but it has my attention. I really like the characters. I feel like it has really good potential. So far, I'm very much enjoying this book. That is it, my friends. Those are all of the books that I have been invested in so far this month, and it has been such a fun reading month for me so far. I have a lot of other books on my radar that I'm hoping to get to soon, and we'll see where it goes. But thanks for watching, you guys, and I will see you on the next video.